zaman al-Ghaybah, during the absence of the Imam, then what happens with the khums? This is a somewhat controversial issue because scholars have different opinions here, and the evidence that they cite may not be so convincing to some, even to some scholars, right? So now let's break it down. Sahm al-Sada, Sahm al-Imam. The Sayyid's share, which is the 50% of the khums, that goes to the yatim, the orphan, or the poor, or the wayfarer, the majority of scholars historically have said you can directly give it to the Sayyid without needing permission from your marja. Because they are the recipients of khums. So if you know a Sayyid family that deserves the khums, you can directly give them the khums. Question. 50% of the khums, exactly. The 3 shares, which are 50%. So if your khums is $1,000, $500, you don't need to go to any marja's office, any permission. You directly give it to the Sayyids. Most scholars have said that. Question. Why is it that in the Risala Amaliyah, the book of rulings, of the many maraja' today, they will tell you no, as an obligatory precaution, even Sahm al-Sada, either bring it to our office or get permission from us to give it. Question, why? What's their evidence that you have to take Sahm al-Sada and be authorized by the marja' to give it to the family? Why can't I give it to any Sayyid family directly? Why do I need my marja''s permission?
Because they know who's the correct Sayyid. And based on their...
Yes, so that's the argument. See, we don't have any evidence in hadith that you have to give Sahm al-Sada to the faqih, to the religious hakim. We don't have such evidence. There is no such evidence. In Islamic law, any hadith that says you have to get the permission of the hakim. So where are these maraja getting this ruling from? The argument is as follows. The marja is the one who best knows which families are probably Sayyid or not. Number 2, whether they deserve the khums or not. Because there are conditions for khums, we'll examine them. One of them, the recipient of khums must be a believer. If someone's a Sayyid, right, but they're not a follower of Ahlul Bayt, or they're a kafir, an atheist, or whatever it is, like Abu Lahab, they don't deserve the khums. The khums does not go to them. Even there are scholarly opinions, Tariq as-Salah, the one who does not pray, is that person a recipient of khums or not? Many scholars say no. Now who better knows these circumstances? Since the marja' says, based on my experience, I know this better than others, get permission from me before you directly give it to Sayyid family. That's the argument. Now is that a convincing argument or not? Scholars have different opinions. But there is no evidence in hadith that you have to give it to your marja, or you get permission, ijazah from your marja. The original law states you give it to the Sayyid. As long as you believe they're qualified, you give it to them. You don't need any permission from anyone. But the reason why some of these maraja are saying as an obligatory precaution, bring it to us, they just want to make sure that it goes to its rightful place. So just know the background behind that.
During the Imam's time, do we know if people did used to give it directly to Sayyids, or it went straight to the Imam and then the Imam?
It's not really clearly known to us. Because the khums issue was a sensitive issue with respect to the Abbasid governments, not many details about it are disclosed, how the Imams dispensed it or what exactly they did. But remember, when the Imam is present, when he's present, the Imam ﷺ is from the Ahlul Bayt, right? So he represents all Sayyids. When he is present, you give it to him. It's clear why you need his permission. The question is, in the absence of the Imam, why do you need the permission of the scholar? The scholar, he is not representing all Sayyids, according to hadith. So why do you need his permission? That's the argument. But when the Imam's present, yes, he can demand that bring all the khums to me. I decide what happens to it. The Imam has that right. But what about the scholar? And then of course we have the issue of wilayat al-faqih and how much authority the scholar has. That's a different discussion.
No, I'm saying the scholar is one of the Sayyid.
He's one of the Sayyids, exactly. If he's a Sayyid, you can follow a marja' who's a Sheikh, who's not necessarily a Sayyid. So he doesn't represent all Sayyids. So why do you have to give it to him? That's the argument, yes.
I could say there is a case for, say, like Sayyid Sistani, for example. In the case of so many conflicts in Iraq, for example, when you give, when the Shias essentially give the khums, the office gets more prominence. And so therefore, when he directs it back to the people, in the society, he has this wide sort of impact. Even
It has greater
the
impact.
government on what things they should and should not do. Otherwise, when you don't do that, a marja is just another person somewhere, who's sitting in.
But see, the argument of some people is that if this share is to the poor Sayyids, why can't I just give it directly? I know a poor Sayyid here or in Pakistan or somewhere else. Why can't I just give it to them directly? Why do I need to go through layers and channels of representatives and marjas for me just to do that? That's kind of the argument here, right? Yes, we understand the institution of the marja'iyah and the impact that it has, but we're just trying to see technically, legally, what's the basis for it. So there is no evidence from hadith that binds you to give that to the marja' or even seek the permission of the marja'. But the reason why a number of maraja' have stipulated that condition is because they know better who deserves the khums, which family is really sayyid, and whether they're qualified or not. That's the argument.